Let's go to.
Beginning to wonder what was more exceptional when Stephen Ross sat down with Joe Philbin across the table and said, "Oh, that's my man," after listening to Joe, or was he more excited when he heard Mike McDaniel say things like that? Mike, how would you face your team after a small, short, hopefully losing streak? And he said something like that, and Stephen Ross says, "This is the guy. Get the contract." Garfunkel, get in here with the contracts.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome to a Wednesday edition of the program. Jeff DeForest. We got Mike Lubitz. Young Luka Lubitz is also riding shotgun once again on a show. That could be, I'm sensing, maybe the reason for the slightly late start to the program. Is the kid okay today, Lubie? He looks like he's already giving you problems.
He's fine. I'm trying to get my timing down, and it seems the earlier I try to get him ready for the show, the more he's awake. So it's a fun game we're playing, and but happy to be here and happy to be on a hump day as we inch closer to another football weekend.
He's one of those moody talents, huh? That walks in at the very last second. Expects everybody to. I mean, it reminds me of the days, my very early days here, South Florida Radio. Very first job, 940 Wins. It was an all-news station. The all-news format was very popular. I want to say there were at least 3, maybe even 4. Can you imagine this, Libby? 4 all-news stations in the market.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, one of the bigger mistakes, too, that I was witness to and unfortunately a part of was when the late, great Steve Lappa of the Lappa Nation fame decided after he was going to do this radical sports talk and general talk station, which I was going to be a part of. And I was very happy about that. He was telling me, hey, we're going to get the wildest people on the air here, and we're just going to shake it up. And I thought, well, that sounds good. And then he had the owner of the station, who I don't know what money this guy was pulling out of his ass, but another one of those filthy rich guys that happens to be broke. Have you run across a few of those in your lifetime? Mostly that's the case with the Trumpster, like a filthy rich guy that has no money. And that was the case with this guy, Jim Hilliard, who owned a thing called James Crystal Radio, which I believe the James part made sense. The Crystal really didn't, although I guess it was the name of one of his grandchildren. And this was a guy who was always on the run. Like you couldn't find him. They were always trying to serve him with subpoenas. You could never. Not encouraging, although I remember having a conversation with the guy. He called me into his office to try and get me focused on what it is that the mission was going to be for this new radio project that I was happy to be a part of, because I was coming out of that Miccosukee jackpot, and I was thinking, geez, what am I going to do? And I thought to myself, well, this is very lucky, because these guys are going to go in a direction that I think radio badly needs to in this town. They were going to sort of become an even more radical version of what you had at WIOD in the very heyday of talk radio, which I was happy to be a part of as well, with that Sports Talk 610, 6 to 8 p.m. That was really my first significant step forward. But this was a rebounding situation. And just as we were about to launch this thing, the guy invested in what was the top of the line equipment. His big theory was, listen, if the station sounds huge, it won't even matter what people are saying. And maybe there's some merit to that. I mean, when you're hearing, listen to the AM radio, especially back in the day, and it sounded like 2 guys had cut up in the top of some coffee can, and they were speaking into that, it wasn't overly impressive. In fact, even today, the various times I've punched up AM radio, Libby, I don't know, are you ever inclined to dig around? I try to find the Monday night football game when I'm on my way home from my Alzheimer's Cup tennis matches on Monday with Dr. Jerry, which, by the way, Dr. Jerry, he really, how could a doctor not follow the simplest of advice and the most basic of advice, which I've been telling him for probably the last 5 years to get this shot for his knees, right? It's called Synvisc, and anybody out there that's having knee problems, as the saying would go, it is definitely worth a shot, because even if it doesn't work for you, it does no harm. It can't do any damage. It can only do you good. And in my case, I went from being almost a complete gimp to having no problems whatsoever, like no knee pain whatsoever, in the knee that was bothering me the most. I was told by a very, very reliable orthopedic guy who took care of me a couple of times and also introduced me to this particular injection. And he said, You're likely going to need knee replacements in both knees within a few years."
Mm.
And I'm thinking, well, that's not a pretty picture.
It's not-
Now, the procedure has changed to the point where it's not nearly as threatening as it used to be in terms of recovery time and the amount of pain you're going to experience going through that. And then, of course, there was no guarantee that it was going to work. I don't know. Have you known any people, Luby, that have had knee replacements done? Hip
I know.
replacement seems to be very common right now. I don't get that. How many people screw up their hips?
I don't. Hip replacement when you get older is a thing. Knee replacement, almost everyone needs. My mom's needed one for years and is weird about getting it. I've heard good and bad stories around it. I know they've made it better than it used to be, but it's still, I guess, it's a taxing recovery and rehab. Maybe I don't know.
Never
I'm hoping
thought.
it's not so bad.
Yeah. But a shot saved me all of that. And I keep telling Dr. Jerry, hey, give it a try, give it a shot, as the saying would go. And for some, here's a guy in the medical profession, Luby. He's in hospitals with tons of orthopedic guys that could easily, I mean, he could do it himself and still refuses to do it. So that turned out to be more of an exercise in practicing my serve. And, it wasn't necessarily the kind of competition that you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, the Synvisc shot is worthwhile, and I don't know. What are we going to see? I was looking at an injury report today. It's the reason I was thinking about injuries. And did you see who was on there? Top of the list, NFL injury report. Pam Bondi is she's going to need Tommy John surgery from the act. I mean, she must have erased like a million things in those Epstein files before they got all the Republicans to vote. Oh yeah, no problem. Let's show it to the people. That'll be great. But good to be with you guys. Tony's going to join us later on. Tony Segreto, and I don't know where he weighs in on this. I'm not sure where you do either, Lubie. You posted this as kind of the headline of the show. And that was this business about the college football playoffs and who's getting hosed, which was always one of my favorite sports talk debates. But it was much more relevant, I think. And this was something that was talked about ad infinitum or whatever. Is that the right way to say it? I don't know what it's. I don't like that saying ad nauseum, because if it's ad nauseum, then why are we talking about it?
It's
People are already nauseous to even think that you're going to bring up the subject, and you're like, "Hey, yeah, we're talking about that ad nauseum," and then here we go. Let's tee it up for ourselves here.
exactly.
But always debates, and some of those you would have to say were at least softened because of the fact that you now have 12 teams competing in the postseason for the championship. And that was always one of the big debates, and it was always one of the favorable conclusions to any argument about this when people were talking about setting up a playoff system in college football. And that was, would you rather make a mistake at 4 versus 5, and then eventually 8 versus 9, and then eventually 12 versus 13, or just have a bunch of people that never watched a college football game vote on it and get it wrong right from the beginning, where you only have one chance to have a champion, and it's decided without actual competition on the field. The system now is good enough for me. If you do get hosed as the 12th or 13th team, Libby, I mean, outside of your Florida State, then there were only 4, though, when Florida State got
and they had a pretty equal shot. 12. Yeah. You're getting into that, like the tournament where it's like, okay, number 64, who cares? Like number 12, I guess this year after Ohio State, everyone seems like they're on the same level. So maybe 12 has a shot to get to a championship game. I don't know. That's my problem with this fighting about Notre Dame versus Miami. I don't know Notre Dame's played good football. I don't think Miami would win a title. Like that's what's weird about and again, you as a Cane fan, you should want to be in the playoffs, obviously, but I don't think they're on the
same level. Series of miracles to win the ACC championship. I was just going over some of the scenarios, and that would be one way to solve their problem. Talking about the University of Miami, because the big debate right now, and it's all over the place. It's not just unique to us because we have the local team here. It's who belongs in the playoff more, who's more deserving. Notre Dame, having lost their first 2 games to 2 highly ranked teams, although Miami had slipped since they were way up there at number 2. Remember when they were number 2? My God, Mario.
Like a month ago.
You could hand Mario Cristobal the key to the kingdom, and he would find a way to screw it up. No, I mean, how do you lose those 2 games, Louisville and SMU?
Good
Anybody
question.
could lose a game, and there were always up. Look, Bobby Bowden, as great as he was, and as much success as he had, routinely would lose that game to NC State when they were an unranked team and appeared to be going nowhere, and they would go into North Carolina State's home field and lose outright. And you'd say, how is that possible? Come on, Bobby. Well, dadgum, if the kids
No,
had
the
just
one
played a
game
little
thing
bit better.
happens. The one game thing happens. We've seen it with Bama. Nick Saban didn't have an undefeated season every year. It's
No,
second game. Mario always loses that second and third game a lot of the time. Like that's to me his
you're
signature.
setting people up for that too.
I really think this big game is going to
You
be.
are setting people up for a loss to Pittsburgh.
If they blow them out, then they blow them out. Then they're serious and they really, they're overcoming the crystal ball stuff. I'm curious because every time they've been in that place, that's the game that they end up losing.
Yeah. And I'm fully with you 1,000%. You're thinking they're going to clean up on Virginia Tech this week. Everybody's going to get all excited. The Fighting Irish really have two soft games coming up. I think. Do they play Syracuse and Stanford to finish out the season? 2 very soft spots. Big debate there. I don't know. I mean, you were looking at this, and I'm watching on ESPN. Hey, look at that! A baby makes an appearance here on ESPN. I love this kid. He looks just like you, Lubie. It's really kind of awkward to imagine that. And he's starting to sound a little bit like you, also. No, he does. And is that a concern of yours? Because I would say your unique voice, I think, has made you one of the more recognizable talents in the whole South Florida market. No. I mean, people knew right away it was you. I remember that time you were surprised when we were flying somewhere early on when we first got together. It might have been, I don't know, either a Radio Row or for the Super Bowl or that.
Yeah, we were going to Dallas. I remember we were going to Dallas.
Yeah,
for Radio Row.
And these young guys in the airport are going. They're just talking, and all of a sudden, you said something like, "Hey, is a plane coming?"
Yeah, it wasn't you, it was me. Like you and I were like. We're going to the counter for something and they were behind us and they tapped me on the shoulder and I was like it was like the weirdest.
Yeah. That they found the marijuana that was in your carry-on luggage and sure enough it's 2 young guys and go, Lubie. I believe that was their first public recognition, at least the first that I ever witnessed. Yes, and they were huge fans. It was very heartening to see that they had responded so well and knew a heck of a lot about you. That was great. But I think young Luca, at least from what we've seen so far and heard on the show, similar voice characteristics.
God, I hope not. I know this voice. I'm fine with this voice. I have to live with it, but I don't wish this voice on anyone, let alone my son.
So who's going to be crying like a baby? I guess that would be the question. And now I'm watching on ESPN. They have a projected college football playoff bracket, and they have Miami at number 11.
They keep putting Miami in, yes, even though Miami is
but they're
still
outside of the official rankings, aren't they?
They're 13, so they wouldn't be top 12. And again, how do they deal with the whole ACC thing? Like, how do they do Miami's ranked higher, but they have more loss, like how do they, because Georgia Tech to me I feel like is getting jobbed here a little bit because they're ranked behind Miami. They have a better conference record. I think as it stands, they're in the conference title game right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they play anyone outside of Georgia, but inside the conference, I don't think they play anyone that would derail them from the conference championship game. Like, are they going to do, okay, well, Miami isn't in the conference championship game, but we know they're better. Like, they're going to do the Alabama thing. Is that what they're going to do? Because it's rare to see an ACC team, let alone Miami, get that treatment. So I'm just curious because ESPN and the ACC are doing the opposite of what they did for FSU. Like the last 2 years, they've really championed Miami. Okay. How you fit it in. Like they're fifth. That is reality. So how do you have them jumping 3? Because I guess the winner will get in. How do you them jumping 3 teams? How do you see them jumping some other teams that are better?
I was just reading a very well thought out case about this whole argument with Notre Dame versus Miami. Is that what it boils down to, though? I mean, they have other obstacles to overcome, and yet for the Canes to be in the ACC title game and actually win the ACC title, it really was like trying to follow a highlight point. A series of miracles where you need the 2 to beat the 3, and then the 3 to get 2 points, and then the 5 comes out there, and they have to get 3 points, go into the 8. The 8 has to run the table, and then you're in a playoff with 3 other guys, and you're hoping Waristi overserves on it really was going to take a series of miracles. Too many permutations to actually. I couldn't even begin to write them down and reiterate them to the people out there. But it seems unlikely. That's what I would say.
Mhm.
So it's going to boil down to some kind of a vote, and the criteria. Head-to-head competition will be the number one criteria. Also, quality of loss, where you did have Notre Dame lose their 2 games to 2 teams that are highly ranked and under consideration. One's going to be in the playoffs, right? Texas A&M. And these were in the first 2 weeks of the season. They lost those games by a combined 9 points, whereas Miami loses to Louisville and SMU. And you're thinking, no matter what they did the rest of the time, Cristobal factor, those are inexplicable and unacceptable in terms of being able to overcome the fact that Notre Dame has run the table since that point and is likely to just finish up on a 10-game winning streak. So, plus,
Yep.
Is this still a factor, Lubie? I don't think the universe is down on the University of Miami like they used to be.
No,
Remember when it was us versus them, us versus the world? It's a hurricane thing. You wouldn't understand all of that baloney that they used to have to spew out.
that's not.
And we were behind it, right? Because you want to be on the side of the team that's being, disrespected or whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah.
And people had good reason to have their ire about the hurricane team. And it's almost like having a president of the United States refer to a female reporter as a pig. That was a good one, Lubie. That didn't
That
get
was
as much attention as
classic.
it probably should have.
That was classic. It still boggles my mind, women that'll stand up defending him. And it's like, where have you been the last 60 years? 60,
What are you
it's
looking
60 years he's been this guy. He's been this guy toward women since the early 80s. Like, and he's never hit it.
Wazoo. I mean, that was a good one. It was funny, too, when they rolled out the red carpet for this Saudi Arabian guy. I think 2 body parts from Khashoggi came out of the car. Isn't that the same carpet that they
Yes,
wrapped the guy up in when they dismembered him?
Oh, God.
He's a great man.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, that was one of my favorite lines ever in the whole political scene. I didn't want to even get into this because, let's face it, we're trying to have some fun here. But when Trump fires back at the reporter who asked a question about the murder of this guy and where he
Honorable
was
man.
and the Trumpster says, "Hey, bleep happens."
Yeah, that was like the whole energy.
How do you shrug that off?
You have an honorable man here. It's like an honorable man. Like, you even understand the definition of the words you use. And then he's like, well, stuff happens. It's like murdering people.
That guy walks into the consulate, thinking he's going to be talking to somebody. Next thing he comes out, he doesn't come out. The body parts are flying out the window. Unbelievable stuff.
Come on, man.
All right, so what are we thinking here, Lubie? A guy named Hunter Yurachek is in charge of the college football playoff system. Hunter Yurachek, I know nothing about him. You do have Miami. They're behind BYU and Utah in the rankings there.
Well, they're 13.
And
did I see 13? Did they move up to 13?
Yeah, I saw them 13th. Yes. Oklahoma's
because. Like, is it? I don't think it's not the top 12. Like, just because you could be 12 one week, that doesn't mean you're in. Like, it doesn't work like that, right?
I guess not. I mean, if you look at where was Florida State ranked when they got host?
Well, what's funny is Florida State was number 4 going into the conference championship games. They won by double digits in the conference championship games, and then magically became 5 because they didn't want.
Well, because Nick was crying. That's why. Nick was saying, "Hey, even though we lost and we don't deserve it, we deserve it."
Exactly.
And as if they were getting free insurance the rest of their life from Aflac, the committee decided, "Oh yeah, let's go ahead and put them in." All right, bunch of other stuff going on. This is kind of interesting. One of the college games of the weekend that is in the ACC that I don't know how much attention it's going to draw, other than the fact that Bill Belichick's involved. Duke and North Carolina. Now, in a million years, and Duke is favored over North Carolina in this game. But if I told you, say, 6, 7 years ago, I guess that was around the time he was coaching the University of Miami, that you had a coaching matchup of Manny Diaz versus Bill Belichick, and you were going to give the edge to Diaz, you talk about as the world turns, man. I mean, and you would have to say that at this point, as a college coach, is Manny Diaz not a better option than Bill Belichick to coach your team? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I know North Carolina's come on and they play vastly better than the early parts, but still, Duke has also struggled a little bit lately, but I would take them over the Carolina product. Oh, Jesus.
And who would figure this? And if he was coaching on a college level, which Belichick now is, that Lane Kiffin's, estranged wife is getting royal treatment. They're flying her around private jets all over the country there. Baton Rouge, which, by the way, I would say, order the redfish at any Baton Rouge restaurant. That's what you want. Is it red drum or just straight up redfish? I think it's redfish, right? Catch those things in, yeah. Real good. I remember Sonny Hirsch was big. He knew every good restaurant at the various locations. We did a bunch of games in Baton Rouge, baseball games actually, and every night it was redfish. It was kind of like when we went to Minnesota, and you were like eating walleye ice cream. You were great. You were very brave about that. What kind of walleye ice cream?
I had a lot of walleye. Yes,
walleye on waffles. It was walleye on everything. I don't think I ever had any when I was there. All right, so a lot of different factors going into this. I don't know. Is it worth the scrutiny of going through the whole thing, or should we just wait and see what happens, Lubie?
I see. I'm more in the latter vein, but no, I don't mind talking about it because that's the funny thing. It's not just a South Florida thing. It's become a national. Like for some reason, Utah is hovering around. BYU, like there's all these teams that are hovering around the playoffs, but they're focused on Miami, Notre Dame. I know they played each other, and Miami did win, but again. Like to me, it doesn't feel that cut and dry. Like it feels like there's other factors.
Who do you think would win if they played again? That's the good question.
I think Notre Dame would. I think Miami has a lot of holes. I think if you bring what teams have learned, again, Miami's offense, we've seen explosions in the second half versus lesser teams that don't have the front line talent Miami has. But the first halves, their offense has been abysmal. And if they're playing a competent team, again, and they've struggled. Like the CJ Carr kid was his first game. Their secondary has issues. The defensive line, as heralded as it is, doesn't get pressure. Look about that they do. Like, I think there's question marks with Miami. They have just played the latter crappy half of the ACC, so they've gotten big wins, but they struggled for Syracuse quarterback for a whole half. For an entire half going into the third quarter, they struggled mightily against Stanford, who had nothing. Stanford had nothing going, and it was a 7-7 game. You're not seeing that from Notre Dame.
Same thing with the Gators. That was abysmal. I mean, that was an eye opener for me. I was unimpressed. Now teams can get better as the season goes along. You would have to say that's the case with Notre Dame. They're winning by double-digit margins on most occasions, and so. They're always, I would think, going to get the popular nod over the University of Miami. But that seems to be the big central debate on this whole college football playoff thing. You don't hear a lot of controversy surrounding any of the other entries that are scheduled to go and slated to go in the top 12. All right, NFL, we got the Bills and the Texans tomorrow. Wow, the Texans have been, you called it, Lubie. And the professor was talking about this with regards to Drake May. And a lot of people were upset with the whole notion. There were many that were saying that the professor is Boston biased, what was overwhelmingly negative, and he refused to acknowledge. I was impressed with Drake May. I don't know that anybody is already saying that he's the second coming of Johnny Unitas. They're very excited about it, and you would have to say from the standpoint of results, the New England Patriots and the Colts have been really the big surprises so far in the National Football League.
By a lot, because it's not that people before the year started expected with Vrabel, because people like Vrabel better than we did.
Their over under total for the season was like 8, I think 8 and a hook. Brian would know this, Brian Schwartz, but
so people thought people thought they was ridiculous. I didn't like their talent at all. The Diggs move was nice, but what we've seen of Diggs, he's leaving Josh Allen. You're thinking he's done. Like, why would you leave a guy who's considered arguably the second or third best quarterback in the league? So, like, Diggs is done. Who cares if they're adding Diggs? But people thought they could win around 8 or 9 games. Okay, but they're not that. They already have 9 wins, right? So like they were expected to be, but not cream of the crop. Colts were expected to be abysmal, and they're right now cream of the crop. Like those two teams, the storylines behind them, it's like the antithesis of the Chiefs and Ravens. Whereas the Ravens are like just getting by, and the Chiefs are out of the playoffs right now. You have the Colts and the Patriots leading the conference.
What do you think about these blowout games here on tap for the weekend? Lions and the Giants. The Lions are laying 10.5. I think they're on the road in that game. Ravens are laying 13.5 to the New York Jets, who have been pathetic. And the Seahawks are laying 13.5 to the Titans, who never seem to be able to get it together. So even with Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick, is he doing anything to distinguish himself? Let's bring in Tony Segreto. He would be.
I was just going to say, who would be good to talk about this?
yeah, Tony Segreto. Tony, how are you, man? How's it going, kid?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Doing well. This is interesting because you were involved, no doubt, in many of these where there was always a debate about who should be the national champion, and people would call in all day long and say, yeah, but they beat so-and-so and they lost to so-and-so. And all of this was decided by a vote by people that you wondered what their credentials were to be in a position to decide who the national champion was. And what we've seen many times, and how many discussions did you have about your beloved University of Miami team, where we just felt like the public sentiment around the country was going to be negative about them, and they would find virtually, I mean, including throwing Terry Porter, a former Ohio State alum or whatever he was, down on the field there in that Fiesta Bowl game to make a call from the stands on the other side of the field and call a pass interference call on the University of Miami. And I'll never forget, they had already doused Paul D., the athletic director. He was down on the field. They had doused him with the Gatorade, and they had to go and get the leaf blowers to try and dry him off because they had to replay that play. And, of course, and completes
first things first.
The win, yeah.
Luca is as cute as can be.
Does he sound like Lubie, though, to you?
Does he sound like me?
It's hard to tell.
Voice quality, no.
I love you actually answered. I guess he does then if Tony feels the need to actually respond.
Isn't it weird to have like Lubie holding his mini-me while doing a show? It's incredible.
I'm not trying to.
Let's hope, in Lubie's defense, he's, as long as he's healthy, that's all that matters.
Yes,
but
that's what I say. Yes,
but if he has Lubie's voice,
I think it's good though. I used to get this from the Polyman all the time, who had a very unique voice. My good friend, the Polyman, with us years and years doing, or as he would say, years and years.
Years and years.
And I remember when I first started using him on the radio, he said, what am I going to do about the voice? And I said, you're going to do nothing about it. This is what's going to distinguish you from everybody else. Everybody's going to know right away who you are. There's nothing better.
That's right.
Now, if it's a particularly annoying voice, I guess it's not necessarily a good thing, but plenty of people have made it with that. Lubie, a very distinctive voice, and I'm hoping Luca has the same voice. I really am. I think he wants to get into this profession, which I don't know what it's going to be by the time Luca's ready to go. Well, you might want to be doing something else, but this is a voice characteristic, I think, that has some similarities already. Tony Segreto. Oh, by the way, speaking of health, I'm glad you mentioned the word because we didn't talk about this at all yesterday, and I wanted to touch on it. God, it's very near and dear to your heart, and I loved this guy when he was playing at the University of Miami, and then we followed his career as a pro. He was briefly a Dolphin, Bernie Kosar, and a very, very touching story. I mean, and you had to think that he was having procedures just to keep him going so he could get this liver transplant. Which he got
it Thursday. He got it Monday.
Yeah, he got it, and the story it was that it was a young guy. I don't know how he passed away, but a young guy who was an organ donor who was a huge Cleveland Browns fan and loved Bernie Kosar, and so he had his organ. His liver became the liver that was donated to Kosar, and apparently, Bernie's doing all right with it. I mean, you never know. It's a little early here, only a couple of days. I guess these things take some time before you can see if they actually work. But
it's such a touching story.
Yeah,
it's such a touching story, and if you followed Bernie along on his Instagram and Facebook pages,
Yes.
the it just I urge people to, whatever religion you are, just pray for Bernie. He is he's a heck of a guy. He's a shell of himself right now, but
Well, I mean,
he keeps
he
fighting.
was very strong. I mean, I have never seen. We knew he was mentally very, very, acutely, strong in this category. Obviously, because he didn't appear to have the greatest physical skills as a quarterback, but he was one of those heady guys that always made things happen. But his approach, Tony, is truly the kind of thing that would inspire anybody to fight through whatever difficulties you're going through. I mean, he has been as bold and upfront with these social media posts, and I mean, incredibly positive about everything that's happening.
Amen. Amen. He has been a positive. He's very famous for the "You Matter," and that's
Yeah,
what
he was great, man. I always enjoyed him. That was one of the more entertaining things. I remember covering that story in the very early
well.
stages of my
I went
career
through.
out here.
I went to Boardman, Ohio.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
and when he was a freshman,
Right.
and spent 4 days with his parents, and just had a great time with he and his mother and his father and Babette at the time, and it touched me. It really touched me.
Yeah. I remember a great story. University of Miami football history was, of course, Howard was. I guess what this would be the '83 season where they won their first national championship, and there was this quarterback debate that was going on during the preseason.
Testaverde, Kosar, or Kyle Vanderway.
Kyle Vanderwind, who
Defo's favorite.
well, you know what's funny is Vanderwind had started a few games the year before. What was it? Jim Kelly that departed that year? Was it?
Yeah,
Or was Kelly before that? I don't know what who the quarterback was
but
preceding.
many people don't remember Bernie's first game. He lost to Florida.
Yeah.
Lost to
Oh,
Florida.
they got trounced, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like
And
31-0 or something?
Yeah. He fumbled on the half-yard line or something like that.
Yeah.
And they ran the table.
After that, yeah, that was great. Very improbable. I remember many things about that season. I can still see myself. I was standing on the sideline when it came to the tail end of their game against East Carolina, the pesky
Oh, my.
Pirates.
I was just thinking that, Defo. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, and it looked like East Carolina was going to win and upset the apple cart, and Beverly Schnellenberger was standing on the sidelines as well. This wasn't a Jordan Hudson Belichick thing. And you could see the concerned look on her face. I think even her hat had blown off, which she was famous for. Howard I forgot exactly the play that decided that. I sort of remember East Carolina looked like they were going to go in for the winning score. Is that the way that transpired? And
Yeah.
somehow the Canes held them out. They held on, won by a narrow margin, and ended up then winning the national championship, of course. But when they had that quarterback battle, and this was part of the genius of one Howard Schnellenberger. I mean, you're looking at the strapping Vinny Testaverde with the prototype pro arm. Guy could fire the ball the entire length of the football field. Vanderwind had actually distinguished himself in a couple of starts the previous year when he was filling in for the injured starter and didn't look half bad. So you thought, wow, he would have an edge. And the distant consideration would be this guy that was throwing the ball like Dan Quisenberry. And it looked like he had clown feet. I mean,
he was just awkward as could be.
Yeah.
But he got it done. And he got it done for the Browns. And he was a top pick. And he's something else. He's something else.
He was terrific. And I can hear Howard in my head. We've decided to go with a young man from Boardman, Ohio here, Bernie Kosar. And everybody's like, what are you talking about?
I interviewed
this guy here, Testaverde, is a monster. A monster.
Howard made the announcement on my air.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. Of course.
Now, did you know what he was going to say, or had you prodded him a little bit, Tony, or did he keep it a secret until? Was it like the decision where you were Jim Gray, and you knew exactly what LeBron was going to tell you? Which, by the way, LeBron James now is that a record? 23 years as an NBA player.
Possibly.
Yes.
What did Kareem do?
I think,
Kareem played a long time.
yeah, I don't know. I thought I heard. I was sort of half listening
Probably is.
as they were talking about him yesterday. He made his return with the Lakers. He continued his streak, which is some ridiculous number of like 1,200 and something straight games with double-digit points.
It's stupid.
And it's his 23rd year, and you're thinking, think about the guys. How long have they been out of basketball? The guys, Darko played about 14 years. He was the number 2 pick. Carmelo's been out of basketball for quite some time. Bosch has been out. His career shortened, of course, by the illness that he incurred. But nonetheless, he's been out of the game. And Dwayne Wade retired how many years ago? And LeBron's still going. And not only getting double-digit points his first game back, but also dishing off 11 assists. Pretty amazing when you think about it. I don't know who the hell has been his physical guide, but wow, I mean, you got to be. Imagine playing 23 years at that level.
He looks great. He looks fit and ready. He looks like he can play next year.
Yeah, you know what? Why am I feeling this is going to be it? What do you think, Lubie?
Well, he's sort of intimated that I think this is it. I mean, I don't know if he's doing the tour thing, but it's been made sort of clear that this is it. I mean, he's missed almost half the season.
Quarter of the season already down the
or
drain.
Quarter of the season. He's missed. I guess they were like 10 and 4 or something like that. But he's missed a quarter of the season.
Yeah,
he's something he's never done before. He's doing the resting thing to reasons now. I mean, they seem to have found a nice young little group of guys there. Including Luka. So they're ready to. Yeah, exactly. It just feels like, it feels like last year should have been the year, but it feels like I think the way he's talking sounds like a guy that's retiring.
Yeah,
you would have to think. Look, all you can do is applaud. I don't care what you think about LeBron James. We've said this forever, and it's true. Maybe not so much this year, but you put him on any roster, they become a contender. I don't care what team he plays with. And the championships that he's won with 3 different teams should not be lost, as everybody wants to concede that Michael Jordan was the greatest player ever because of the 6 rings. All right, so how do you feel about this, Tony? You're fully in tune with all of the various mathematical permutations it takes to figure out who's going to be in the top 12. You're having to decide, and you have an affinity for both teams. So from a personal standpoint, I don't know that there's any big bias here, although I think your lean would be towards the University of Miami. But Notre Dame and Miami, this has become a huge debate around the country. Which one deserves or is more deserving of being in the playoff?
Notre Dame, it's quite simple. Notre Dame is progressively gotten better.
Okay.
Yes.
And they're playing at the top of their game right now.
Yes.
All right.
As compared to the University of Miami, who's descending. You got a team ascending.
They're up and down. I would say more up and down. 2-2 in their last 4.
Yeah, they're 3-2.
But they've had some blowout wins in those 2 games.
So that's the debate. It's over.
Even though you're going to disregard head-to-head competition, you're going to disregard having a similar record. Any of the other criteria? I mean, you would get the nod.
Listen,
strength of schedule, it's about the same.
I'm a big UM. You know me. UM is you died and gone to heaven, whatever.
Yeah.
But for Miami, they had Carson Beck. His first game. For Notre Dame, they had a young freshman.
Not a freshman, yeah,
who hadn't played ever.
Yeah.
Like that you're making excuses for Notre Dame, Tony. That's kind of interesting. Well, I mean, the way it stands, I don't know. Does anybody know what's going to happen? Do you have any influence on the committee? Maybe Ed Garcia has influence with the committee. But we know where he would. I know where he would head right away.
I definitely don't have any influence, but I am very impressed with Notre Dame and Georgia. Coming out strong. Definitely showed a power shift there in the SEC. With Oklahoma taking down the Crimson Tide, which is absolutely incredible. Just kind of showing their strength makes Michigan look also a little bit better since we lost to them earlier in the year.
All right. So what would you do? I mean, I guess we're going to see Notre Dame in there. Is Miami going to get into the postseason? That's the question.
Yes.
Do you think they are?
I think Miami will definitely get in the postseason. They just need to continue to play strong. They need to have some dominant wins, and they'll keep the votes. They just got a little shaky, and they just got to just play better D and throw the ball to their own teammates.
Do you do you believe in the Defo Lubie conspiracy that for all the University of Miami has done, they got the crystal factor in there?
Cristobal factor is huge. That's the reason they're in this jackpot. No,
I think Miami could do it. They definitely need to focus on a little bit more culture and tighten up with just the different offenses and defenses that they face. I don't think this will be their year. They're learning a lot real quick as they get to play some of these top opponents, and they're going to learn a lot more in the playoffs. I don't think they'll make it very far. I don't want to say it's a lack of discipline. It's just a lack of education versus these other teams and how to execute. So.
Can a team actually
get a really good education is online. You can buy a NFL referee gig and go ahead and watch the Lions screw up and throw these crazy pass interference calls for $9.99. So
for $9.99.
What were you using? Soccer official in Madrid? Because that was the most atrocious, outrageous, egregious pass interference call.
That was the worst call in the world.
Agreed.
Shouldn't that be? I mean, I know they don't want to review everything, but with the severity of the penalty when you get called for pass interference, I mean, half the time they're putting the ball on the 1 yard line. It's always, because it's an automatic first down. How many times have you seen the automatic first down? The pass interference call is on the other side of the field, inconsequential to the actual play. You could say, well, if the guy wasn't held or whatever, that he might have popped open and the whole play might have transpired in a different fashion. But shouldn't that be reviewable? I mean, of all the things.
I thought so.
I think 100%. I mean, why do we have, these, hey, call back and these TVs and all the other stuff? I think that there should be a level of a certain call that just gets verified.
Yeah.
Especially since it's going to be a W or an L for a team. 100%.
Should be an automatic one challenge on a pass interference call by every coach. How much is that going to elongate the game to the point where people are going to be screaming, "Oh my God, I was there for 4.5 hours. They kept reviewing plays." I don't think it would be that damaging because it's far worse, Ed, like you said, to let those kind of calls stand. And it does appear that Mike McDaniel has zero influence on officials, that officials love it when they make him irate.
They can't stand it.
They just get a kick out of what a clown show it becomes as he's screaming. It looks funny for him to be screaming at an official, doesn't it?
Yes.
100%. So, really cute with those glasses, that's for sure.
What would go on? What would happen at the Texas Roadhouse if that happened?
I mean, 100% we review all the plays.
Airmail the steak?
Yeah, every single day. I mean, but, to be honest, that's what we do every single day. We come in, we validate all the food. You got to be a part of it. We taste every dressing. We don't take anything for granted.
Yep.
We want to make sure that quality is the absolute best.
Explain to the people how you have your butcher in there every day.
They're cutting over 2,000 pounds a week. That room is anywhere from 28 to 34, just depends on how long they've been cutting. At 28, people are like, doesn't the meat freeze? It actually starts to freeze probably right about 26 degrees, but it's nice and firm, so you can get some beautiful shapes. But they're cutting, probably 80 to 110 hours. 1 to 3 cutters are back there cutting hand-cut steaks every single day, making sure they weigh the right amount of ounces. They look fantastic, and they're going to taste fantastic. Once they get to that grill, we do a special sear on there with our Texas Roadhouse seasoning, which you can buy online, or some of the local stores will carry it, which makes a great Christmas gift, by the way, with the gift cards. But our hand-cut steaks are the absolute best.
And
when we have, what do you guys around the holiday, Thanksgiving? What do you guys Thanksgiving?
What's happening? Thanksgiving.
I'll tell you, we do a Friendsgiving inside the four walls. We're not open. The 2 days we're closed per year is Thanksgiving and Christmas Day.
All right.
But I'll tell you, we can make things very easy for you. Take one thing off your menu. If you're going to make mashed potatoes and green beans, leave the green beans up to us. Our green beans are pretty awesome. We soak them in bacon, which makes everything delicious. But plenty of other things from the corn or the salad. Who wants to buy pre-made salad mix with all that nitrogen and stuff on there? Hey, hit us up. We'll be more than happy to put something together for you for Thanksgiving, to just kind of help out with that type of stuff. But hey, some people aren't into turkey, and we can do prime rib logs for you as well. We can give it to you raw, and you can actually bake it in, essentially bake it in your oven. We'll give you a couple tips and tricks to make a really awesome prime rib. And we do a couple of those as well right around Christmas. So check out with your local Texas Roadhouse and have a great dinner.
And you can buy the rolls.
Yes,
100%
for Thanksgiving.
We sell a lot of rolls for Texas Roadhouse, and you can get them cooked. You can also get them, as long as you're going right home, you can get them frozen. And that way, when on Thanksgiving Day or whenever you want to do it, you set them out. As it warms up, they proof, they get nice and big. Then you throw them in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Put a little bit of butter on top, and hey, you can go to town and enjoy some Texas Roadhouse bread.
Can you tell right away when somebody shoveled about 8 rolls in their pockets on their way out?
100%. It's usually a honey cinnamon butter mustache that gives it away.
Yeah,
cinnamon butters across.
Honey at Wolfie's back in the day. I mean, used to leave with the whole bucket of pickles and coleslaw. No, that's great and a great idea because you can say you made it, and just bring a tray of some of these sides there. The sweet potatoes, awesome, and all the different stuff that you guys put together. It's absolutely fantastic. All right, speaking of putting things together, what are the thoughts, Mr. Michigan, about our man Dusty May and this Michigan basketball team? Have you taken a look at that, or are you so focused on the football that this is sort of on the back pages right now?
I'm very excited about Dusty May. I think he's going to bring the program around. We've taken a couple of missteps here and there. But I think the future is going to be bright. We're learning a lot as well about the NIL. A couple of teams are ahead of us when it comes into that factor and bringing people in. But, I think we're going to end up with a good season. We need to, like Notre Dame, get better as time goes on. Maybe delicious like a fine wine or something like that. But really kind of looking forward to the season. As it develops, I am watching football pretty hard, though granted, I know that they're young. But we're 2 weeks away from the game, and I think the line was actually Ohio State was or Michigan was getting 10 or something like that, which I thought was a little bit low. But I still think Michigan's going to pull it off.
How many in a row is it? Is it 5 in a row they beat?
That would be 5. We're at 4.
4 in a row,
which is
our
very
numbers
exciting.
are really good, Ed. Our numbers are really good.
Let's go. I have 4 tickets. They are for sale though.
Oh, yeah?
That game is so stressful. There's nothing like having a bottle of bourbon in one hand and like a whipping stick in the other. So it just makes the game that much more fun. For whatever reason, they don't allow it in.
No. You need bourbon in one hand and the red licorice whip in another hand that's cut open, and use it as a straw. That's the perfect mix.
He knows how to maximize the buzz that he gets from alcohol. We saw that when he was nursing that piece of salmon after eating 3 other entrees. That time we went to the Miramar store there and all got to have dinner together. All right. Did you ever think this? We posed this question earlier that you would have Manny Diaz matched up against Bill Belichick in any football game, and you would give the coaching edge to Manny Diaz. As Duke goes against North Carolina, and Duke is favored naturally over North Carolina. But I'm looking at that matchup. I mean, we ran Manny Diaz right out of Miami, even though he was a Miami guy, son of the mayor, and had been with the program for a long time. He has done a decent job at Duke, which not necessarily known for their football acumen, but the program's been okay, and he's done well with it. But who would ever think that? Who would you put the checkbox if you were doing one of those little grids in the newspaper, guys? If you had coaching was one of the things you were trying to decide who had the edge, would you check Diaz or Belichick? It's hard to imagine.
I would check Belichick.
Oh, okay. All right. You
Because
give
he's
coaching
very,
edge.
very good at finding the edge,
Yeah.
whether it's 100% legitimate or not. He's very good at finding the edge and pulling off the big W's. He's obviously had a little bit of a rough start, with North Carolina, but I think big picture wise, he's changing the program. College as a whole is just absolute bananas right now.
It is bananas. You're right, Ed. You're right.
But it's very exciting, though. It really is exciting because you never know what's going to happen on Saturday.
The NIL has helped out a lot.
Yes. And I might unsubscribe from Hard Rock Bets because of football in the NIL.
Football is really hard to bet. Yeah.
It's just you never know. It's any given Saturday for sure. And there's just so much craziness. There's so much injuries. Which I feel like is also happening a lot more. And they're so secretive or not secretive about it in a sense. And you never know who's going to show up. And those are some pretty big games. And, the other thing, too, is that next Saturday with a lot of the big games, how many people are going to maybe sit out a player or two? It's going to really make an impact, getting into the championship. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll see. I think, that might be some things that coaches take into consideration of, not playing your full team and stay healthy so you can take home the natty.
I had a nightmare about load management, not on the football scene, but with tonight's game, Heat and Golden State. Golden State coming off a back-to-back now. They played in Orlando last night and lost. What if you had tickets for this game and Steph Curry was sitting out?
Oh, God.
I mean, can you imagine driving down there? We always talk about little Johnny Jones, whose father drove him, picked him up at the hospital and drove him down there to see his favorite player when it was LeBron. And then you found out after going all the way down to the Kaseya Center now that LeBron was out. That would be, a disaster if Steph Curry doesn't play in this ball game tonight. We do have to ask you guys one more thing here.
Sure.
You didn't get a chance to weigh in on. You know how you lose friends over the Trump debate, and you're having to cut people off on Facebook and various social media accounts, and maybe even blocking their telephone number. But this has become the case with the argument about whether Mike McDaniel should have been fired immediately after not going for that field goal with 1:40 to go, and the Commanders doing virtually nothing on this field in Spain. They had one touchdown. They had an injured backup quarterback in Mariota, and the fear that they would score a touchdown on you in the final 1:40 with no timeouts left. I think it was far outweighed by the idea of let's go ahead and kick this field goal and take the lead. And I rarely, Tony, do I get as fired up as I did when I couldn't believe that this guy was going to go for it there and put this onus on, and then have to use his own timeouts to facilitate their march down the field into field goal range. When the Commanders were fighting the clock and were unlikely to even get in range.
What do you think went through his mind after they missed it or after they didn't get it?
A big sigh of relief, no doubt. And then, of course, they got lucky and got the interception right away and managed to kick the game-winning field goal. So does that absolve him of what I thought was one of the most coaching decisions ever?
No.
What'd you think, Tony?
I think that, he's played his part with the Dolphins. There's a systemic issue. I think, the team working together. We see that in the post interviews. We see that with the play routes and the play calling. There's just not they're just not flowing with each other right now. And it starts from the top. It starts with him and you feel it in the team.
There seems to be a tug of war, Ed. There seems to be a tug of war.
What were your thoughts when the guy? I'm trying to figure out. I'm thinking, okay, they can't be trying to draw this team off sides. That's only going to put them a half a yard closer to the end zone. So why are they lining up to take a snap here and not have the field goal unit on the field? They had already blown a 4th and 1 earlier in the ball game when they decided not to take a field goal. And while we've always been in favor of coaches that have guts and courage, and look, how much grief did Tony Sperano take for taking these field goals? But it seems like there's such a reluctance to kick field goals at a time where field goal kickers are more accurate and have more range than ever before.
Yes, they do.
And later in the game, after a coach decides to abdicate the chance to kick a field goal, put 3 on the board, how many times do you see that dynamic on the scoreboard, and you say, wow, if they had just gone ahead and kicked that field goal, they'd be in much better position to win the game. And I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Is this something that needs to be, I mean, I guess rethought in terms of the approach about field goals and putting points up?
Ed?
Well, I mean, I think that there is a point. We saw that a little bit with the Lions. This past week. It's can't go 4th and 10 every single time. I understand that he's changed the game and in a sense of going for it. I think it's fantastic. It makes it very exciting. But there's also where you need to just secure those 3 when you can secure those 3. Now, granted, I think Mr. McDaniels was worried about whether or not he renewed his cannabis card in Florida or something. It's not. I don't know. What was going on there.
I can't imagine. I mean, I rarely have I ever been screaming at a television set. I guess I was shocked when they announced Ted Jr. As the draft pick that year, when everybody was screaming for Brady Quinn, which turned out actually to be a good move, as Ginn had a better career. But I was amazed that this guy was going to not take the lead at that point in the ballgame and figure, okay, at the worst,
this was such a joke.
Tony, really critical of this Dolphin team as he has been this year. My goodness. I wish you were doing the Mike McDaniel show, Tony.
If I was doing the Mike McDaniel show, I would drill him.
I would be front row and center. I would love to watch that.
Live from Texas Roadhouse, here's Tony Segreto and the coach of the
Texas Roadhouse would have to sponsor it, though.
Oh yeah, it would have to be at the Roadhouse.
Let's go.
It sounds like a good spot for it. Remember, it was always like Bobby Rubino's, and where else did we do this stuff?
Oh yeah.
Wherever Sonny could get ribs, that's where the sponsorship usually ended up. All right, Ed, you have a great one. So the schedule, you guys are closed on Thanksgiving Day, but plenty of opportunity to order stuff to adorn your Thanksgiving tables, which I think that's a great idea.
That's a move. Yep.
And Lubie, what are we going to do for a show next week?
I mean, I can do Wednesday.
Wednesday we're here. We're here next week.
I mean, we're not gonna do anything Thursday, but I'm definitely down Wednesday for sure.
Thursday and Friday we're gonna take off.
There's a lot of football. I mean, hello, his Lions. It's literally the tradition. We got to talk about.
Can you do Wednesday, Ed?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, all right, we're in. Okay, so we're all set up for next week.
See you Wednesday.
Tony, Ed, have a great one. Always a pleasure. And go blue, as you say. And Tony, always great, Tony. So when are you departing for parts unknown?
2 weeks after Thanksgiving.
Oh, 2 weeks.
Okay.
So you're still around for a while. Very good. All right, thanks, Tony. Always a pleasure, my friend. We'll see you again next week. Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen. Did we solve anything, Lubie? No.
I just like that both Ed and Tony were just as frustrated as we were with that.
You know what? It's really the same thing like you were talking about at the top of the program with regard to the political scene that we're in right now. Where and it never ceases to amaze me. I know any number of women that I would consider to be extremely intelligent, B, very attractive, and very successful in their own right and on their own individually, and how any woman could accept and just shrug their shoulders again at these atrocities in terms of the obvious, the misogynistic. I mean, this is the president of the United States calling a reporter a pig. The only other time I'd seen that was when Walter Alston, the former manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, was taking issue with some of the things. Alan Malamud, who was a sports editor of the LA Herald Examiner, had a great column, Notes on a Scorecard. And he used to hammer Alston the last couple of years that he was a Dodger manager. And there was always a comment in there somewhere in his column about how Walter needs to retire, that it's time to pass on the torch, that the Dodgers are not prospering because of the fact that Walter Alston is insisting on continuing his one-year contract succession with the Dodgers. And look, how do you push that guy out? It's just like pushing out Bobby Bowden. Tommy Lasorda waiting in the wings, I guess. I don't know that his name was always – it wasn't like he was the one that was pushing Alston out the door. Just the conclusion was that Alston was finished, right? So we're in Walter Alston's office one day, and he goes off on Malamud. And Malamud wasn't exactly the most svelte of physiques, and he actually calls him a fat pig.
Oh no.
But that was kind of different, wasn't it? I mean, he, here was a very irritated and cantankerous old man at that point. I guess Olson was always a guy of some level of dignity, but that was the last time I heard somebody refer to a reporter as a fat pig. And this was in the case of the president of the United States, and then all the other reporters just sit there and go, "That's nice, Donnie."
Yeah, they said nothing. No one said anything.
Like,
No
hey,
one-
that's appalling, Mr. President. Oh, would you care to retract that? And then, I mean, they would have had this guy backpedaling all the way to the other side of the planet. What's going on in that room that he's leaning out of on the Air Force One? By the way?
I don't know. He's always like leaning, and he just throws out random stuff that makes him look bad every time.
It's insane. All right, so what do you think? The Epstein files? Are they going to? Is there anything left of the Epstein?
Oh,
files?
that's the problem. Is
How many pages are in the shredder?
they were able, like they're not the Epstein. It's like what they did the last time, where they'll release stuff that's already been seen. I mean, it's all going to be redacted, and my hope is that the fact that these files are getting released will now allow people who have seen the whole files, which is a lot of people now in the government, to leak it. Now it's like, okay, they're out. This is the real version. That's my hope is that in the next week or so, we see, like after they do this dog and pony show, that someone actually releases the entire real files because they're sick of the whole thing.
Yeah, that was great. I was with this gold in the Oval Office too. I mean, it really is starting to look like you're out there at, in the waiting room at the Bunny Ranch. Where they show you the menu of women. That may even be appropriate. All right, now we're going to get out of here. Enough of our political commentaries. I'm sure there are many people that think we're insane. So we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have the trivia challenge with Dave Gurgles Gurgley, Friday the Professor, and a big board. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And for Luca Panici Lubitz, Mike Lubitz, Tony Segreto, Ed Garcia, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. As we leave you now that.
The time.
Oh, and later on Bleacher Brothers, 4 o'clock, a little Break the Bank with our friends Frank G and Mike Jones. So you can look forward to that. It's 9:10.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what the